When a king goes to trial, gets convicted, receives a verdict, gets his sentence, and then is released, due to recent events, has come to our if you follow current events, that a king will soon be partially released from federal custody. If you know who I'm talking about, you know who I'm talking about. If you don't, oh well. And I sit back and I think about who he has become. And for those who can't relate, let me help you. When you go to trial, a jury is generally 12 people who are not smart enough to get out of jury duty. There are people who are not paying attention. Then there are people who are not seeing. It is easier to exercise certain words and actions to avoid having to serve and be confined in this space for however long. There are also people who are selected where the prosecutor gets certain number of people, of jurors, and the defense gets to do the same. And they both pick who is most likely to be swayed by words and not the evidence. Because the evidence is for the judge, that's the law. Although they present it, people get into their emotions and personalities, or they like the prosecutor better than they like the lawyer, or vice versa, and things of that nature. So when you're sitting at that trial every day and you're looking at these people who are judging you and have their life in their hands, and they're just watching your actions. And if you got a good lawyer, you know, you writing notes and you looking as presentable and as clean as possible. But for some of us, you are guilty first. You want to be guilty, you're going to be judged, you're going to be handled before there's a verdict. So during that trial, you're taking your notes, you're doing what you have to do to appeal, to have the right image in front of the jury. Deep in your heart, the only reason you went to trial is because who you are feels that I got him. This case is nonsense. Looking at the evidence and the way it's lined up, you don't realize the games they're going to play, the tricks they're going to say, the way they're going to appeal to the jurors, the way that if you are going home every day, they're watching your actions and using that against you. You don't know all that when you're sitting in that seat as a defendant. But times go on, the jury goes to deliberate. That deliberation time, your life stands still. You are filled with so much hope, and you are filled with so much anxiety that it's eating you apart. And then they come back. If they came back quick, you're done. If they took a long time, there might be some hope. But it can go either way. And when they come back with the verdict of guilty on all charges, some charges, whatever, it means that life stops. So for those of us who go from California kings and Floridian kings, and we used to having $1,000 sheets. I'm not talking about just the curtains. I'm not talking about the mattress that's over $10,000. You're going from California king, Floridian king, to a cot. You're getting handcuffs put on you. If you were a king and you were calling shots and you told somebody to do something every day and people did it, and you had X amount of girls and you had this one and that one, and living like a king, which means that you can sit down and visualize something in the morning and it will be materialized by that afternoon or that evening. That's what I call living like a king. Those handcuffs go on you, you get pulled out, you get pushed in a den of animals. And when I say animals, I'm talking about the lowest of the lowest guy who sleeps on the street and has mental issues. I'm talking about the millionaires to the top. You're getting all thrown in, treated the same, on the same level. But I'm not going to get into that. What I'm going to get into is what happens when you get that verdict of guilty. Your so-called friends, all the leeches, all the guys that surround you, that they rest easier because you're around. If anything happens, they never have to worry because you're going to show up with lawyers or take care of their family or whatever. They know they can count on you. All of them is gone. All the girls, if they didn't testify against you or bring evidence up against you or find a way to convict you because they found out that they wasn't number one or whatever, those girls always have somebody else pissing in their ears. And if you're a real king and you've been handling business and you really don't have quality time and then you go away, she was not used to getting your quality time anyway, so now she appeals, so your girl is gone. Your girls are gone. So now your friends are gone, your girls are gone. If you have a real queen, she's going to step up and say, I'm here. I'm not going nowhere. But you're going to chase her off because you're losing your mind and don't know what you are going through, and you cannot be who she knows you to be while you're confined. So you get that verdict. Then it's time for the conviction. And they come back and they sentence you to a minimum of this amount and a maximum of that amount. And for those of us who heard the words life in the back, you like, oh my, what? And there's two ways to approach these convictions. You're in complete denial because you know I got an appeal. You listening to your lawyers. I'll be right back in 2 years. It's not a problem, whatever. Or you hearing, nah, you're going to do that time. My life is over. Where do I start from here? So from that point of conviction, and when your so-called friends, your family, your blood, your ride or dies hear that sentence, to the average person, 2 years is a long time. They can't see 2 years from now. So they say, you know what? I'm out. Can't call them. You call them, nobody picking up. You call them, the people that you taking care of, their wives are saying, why he calling here begging? You calling, the wife is saying, oh, you can't, don't answer the phone. Don't be running up the phone bill. The girlfriend is blocking, and he's a sucker for the girl, so you listen to her, and you start losing all those friends. So you lost your girls, you lost your friends, your family, everybody just starts finding how to survive without the king. The king has fallen. And if you're a real sucker, you try to find another king that hated you and couldn't stand you, so you run to that person. That goes for your girlfriend and your friends. So now, after that conviction and that sentencing, and you're described as the worst person on the planet and why you should never see the face of a day ever again, and you start wondering, is that real? Am I really that person? And then from there, you go do the time. I'm not even going to get into that because everybody does time differently, even out here. But one thing is going to happen to that king. He will have been humbled. I don't care if he got $1 million in the bank. He's going to be humbled by what he has to eat and how he has to be at these minions that's on the outside that's controlling yourself and acting like they're the kings on the inside. So you're going to be humbled. You're going to learn how to say yes, thank you, please, my apologies, please forgive me, things of that nature. And then whatever time that person does, they're going to see who's there, who wasn't there. They're either going to be bitter because they took care of so much, or they were ready to die for some people, or they're going to learn. And they're going to learn how to isolate and be to themselves and be their best company and learn how to do without and how to make something out of nothing. And after their time is over, they're going to be released. And upon that release, they are the most socially antisocial person. In their mind, everybody will abandon them eventually. In their mind, one incident could cause them to go back in because they already know what it feels like to be guilty even though they're innocent. In their mind, they can't trust no woman ever again because they seen what happened. In their mind, they don't have any close relationship with men because they seen how all the relationships are transactional. So if you can't have a relationship with men and you can't have a relationship with women, you don't have real family, you got a bunch of relatives that didn't even know you in your worst time of suffering, who you supposed to be left with? Who you supposed to deal with? I don't care if it was 2 years, 5 years, or like a whole bunch of my friends, 40 years they did. So now you come and you trying to cope and deal, and you seen the ugliest parts of people. You seen things that you did not believe human beings can do get done right in front of your eyes by the people that you love the most. They steal from you. They robbed you. They talk bad about you. And then when you come out, you have an option. Am I going to give life to others? Or am I going to take lives as much as I can, piece by piece, and be a soul snatcher and just me, and just take. Because one thing you're not doing is giving people a bunch of chances. You saw the worst in people. You had people that swore to you they would die for you, tell you things like, everybody got a right to change their minds. You have people who you have invested and trusted everything in, act like they don't even know you. And then when you release, they in a state of fear because their reference point was who you were before. They don't know your growth. They don't know your pain. They don't know your suffering. They don't know what you went through. They just know that they cannot do or survive what you did. So when this king steps back out, he's going to see all the people that's going to try to double back that forgot about him. He's going to see all the people who was scandalizing his name and jumping on a bandwagon because they love to tear the king down. He's going to see women who crossed him, testified against him, talk bad about him, try to get in good favor. He's going to see, and he's going to be ice cold, or he's going to get back on the biggest stage. Because the greatest revenge is success. The greatest revenge is when you can pull your screen and you see a lake or ocean in front of you, and you can sit down and smoke a cigar with loved ones, and you can live life on your terms, and they in misery because they never been humble. They never had to do reflection. They've been out here just trying to survive and wishing they were a king the whole time. And you learn not to care about what other people are thinking because they did not exist. You were socially dead while you were incarcerated. Socially, you were dead. So now when this king steps out and those people try to double back and those people try to aid to his downfall, or they try to bring new charges from out of left field because how dare you survive the worst conditions and still come out smiling, still come out healthy, still look better than the rest of us, live better than the rest of us, capitalize on opportunities to gain wealth and know how to keep it a secret from everybody. How dare you still demonstrate that you move better than we do? Heavy is the head that wears the crown. I hope you kings remember what it felt like and keep your head lifted high for the rest of your life.